Hi everybody, this is Christine Divina Manuel. For today's video, I'll be sharing with you my reaction on the links that was provided to us by Dr. Ramos. So the first link is about ecotourism. I have learned that ecotourism is about uniting our conservation efforts, our communities, and even promoting sustainable travel. So ecotourism also provides an effective economic incentives for conserving and enhancing biocultural diversity and helps protect the natural and cultural heritage of our beautiful planet. Ecotourism is also an effective vehicle for empowering local communities around the world to fight against poverty and, of course, to achieve sustainable development. Ecotourism promotes greater understanding and appreciation for nature, local society, and its culture. Responsible travel is what ecotourism promotes for the conservation of the environment and improvement of the well-being of local people. Ecotourism is a great opportunity for the indigenous people to promote their natural resources, their products, and of course, their culture. If managed and regulated properly by proper authorities, ecotourism can make a positive impact on both ecology and economy of a given destination. In conclusion, I have learned that ecotourism creates knowledge and understanding through interpretation and education of all involved, including the staff, the travelers, and of course the community residents. That would be all for the first link. The second link is about urban and rural differences. So choosing to live between urban and rural areas have their own pros and cons. And one of the major difference that I have observed between these two is the lifestyle of the people. People who live in urban areas have more fast-paced type of life. They're always in a hurry. They're always busy and mostly they're occupied. While people who live in rural areas are a little bit relaxed, maybe because of the scenic and peaceful environment and the chill lifestyle that they have. Another difference that I have seen and observed is the population size. People, urban areas have larger populations and more dense compared to rural areas. Thus, if you are someone living in an urban area, you will have to interact with many different people every day with different backgrounds, different cultures, different beliefs, different orientation, and different ideologies. Thus, it is evident that people who live in urban areas are more open to diversities compared to someone who live in rural areas. Um, Also, although that there are many people in urban areas, but it is also evident that people in urban areas, for example, like in a neighborhood, if you are in an urban area, mostly the people who live inside that neighborhood does not know one another, and they don't even bother to know or to care who are their neighbors. Compared to rural areas, even if they are far from one another or they are distant when it comes to their houses, they are still new or familiar with every member of their communities. And on because of that, in rural areas, because of that familiarity or people who know one another or who knows each of their members of their community, I have observed that gossip spreads like wildfire in rural areas compared to urban areas. Most inhabitants also of the urban areas have non-agricultural jobs, so they don't work in farms or an open sea or like in a coconut plantation or what, but they have different types of jobs compared to people who live in rural areas. Urban areas are very developed, meaning there's a density of human structures such as houses, commercial buildings, roads, bridges, and railways, while rural areas have slower pace in terms of infrastructure development. Also, in terms of technology, nothing beats the speed and innovation in urban areas. and most of the people are glued in their screens. While in rural areas, it is still evident that people, especially the elderly, demand interaction, like having family dinners and community events, and there's a stronger sense of family and sense of belongingness in a rural area than in an urban area. So those are the things that I have observed between the differences of the urban areas and the rural areas. The third link is about zoning. I have learned from the video that zoning refers to a municipal or local laws or regulations that govern on how real property can and cannot be used in a certain geographic areas. For example, zoning laws can limit commercial or industrial use of land in order to prevent oil manufacturing or other types of businesses from building in residential neighborhoods. Example of zoning classifications are the following: agricultural, industrial, commercial, hotel or hospitality, and a lot more. Zoning outlines what types of developmental and operational use of land is allowed on a given tract. Municipalities tend to partition districts and neighborhoods according to a master plan. This may be done to promote economic development, control the flow of traffic, manage noise levels, reserve living space for residents, and protect certain resources. However, I have learned from the video that there are zoning decisions made that shows discrimination because of people's skin color and by being poor. Poor zoning decisions creates and widens the disparity of the quality of life between socio-economic groups. The rich becomes richer because they were given more land opportunities, and this can be addressed if there is a conscious effort to correct zoning decisions. I understand that zoning can be amended according to law. So as members of our own community, we must be vigilant and involve ourselves to any zoning decisions being made by our government. That would be all. Thank you and have a nice day.